A few weeks ago, I received an email from a graduate of Central's Teshuvah Fellowship, a summer internship program for people who have come home from prison. Halfway through the program, this Teshuvah fellow learned that she was pregnant. Those early days were marked by worry, anxiety about employment, housing, a chronic medical condition, and the uncertainty of the coming weeks. Here is how our Central community responded to that Teshuvah fellow, as told to me by her in that email. Those days of worry now 10 months behind her. Once upon a felony, I fell pregnant. It didn't feel whimsical or even like the fairy tale I had planned it all to write. Without your support, this story may never have been told. Presently, though, with our babe nestled safely between our arms and our days filled with lullabies and late-night cuddles, we look back on a year of support as I faced very serious and life-threatening health conditions with hearts overflowing. Thank you for the soft blankets that now wrap our little one in warmth, the tiny clothes that turn every change into a royal fashion show, the books, toys, and trinkets that await curious little fingers. Thank you for your kind words, your wishes, your presence. But most of all, thank you for surrounding our surprise but fated-to-be family with love. This journey, this marvelous adventure into parenthood, feels less daunting because of you. With every bottle washed, every burp cloth used, every onesie snapped, we are reminded that we are not alone, and that people who gather and try for a world reimagined are a powerful force. If we didn't want prison reform, this baby would not exist. If we didn't believe in people coming home, I wouldn't have had one to welcome my baby to. In this new chapter of sleepless nights and starlit wonder, your kindness has become our fairy godmother's touch, a little poof of magic when we needed it most. In this week's Torah portion, Parshat Emor, we read, "You shall faithfully observe my commandments. I am Adonai. You shall not profane my holy name, that I may be sanctified in the midst of the Israelite people. I, Adonai, who sanctify you. I, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God." Our text asks, how could we, mere mortals of flesh and blood, possibly have an impact on the sanctity of God's holy presence in the world? And yet, our sages insist that we can. They teach that each one of us can perform the mitzvah of Kiddush Hashem, sanctifying God's holy name in this world and bearing witness to the holiness of God's teachings. The rabbis of the Talmud make a bold, even revolutionary argument. They insist that we sanctify God's name not through the words of praise we speak or even through our punctilious ritual observance. What matters is the way in which we act, our moral habits, the virtues to which we hold ourselves, testify to the ethical lessons imparted by our sacred texts. And it is our deeds that honor or dishonor God and God's Torah. Here is how the Talmud makes this daring argument. Our sages ask, what do people say of a Torah scholar who is kind, honest, and honorable? They answer, this person studied Torah. How pleasant is her manner, how upright her deeds. Conversely, our sages imagine a Torah scholar who acts unscrupulously and with disregard for the suffering of his fellow. What will people say about him? Look at him who studied Torah. How objectionable are his deeds and how corrupt are his ways. It is our actions that can bring honor to the Torah or cast it into disrepute. Our deeds, our treatment of those both within and beyond the Jewish community, are the measure and messenger of God's holiness in this world, a reflection of Judaism's ethical core, our inheritance, and our legacy. Through us, God's holiness is made manifest. Through our acts, God's holiness is magnified. When we reflect the sanctity of God's presence in the world, an expectant mother's anxieties are met with compassion and care. New life takes root, and a family is born. And we are reminded that we are not alone in this world. Our deeds make Torah tangible and powerfully transformative. Like light refracted through the colors of stained glass, our holy deeds imbue the world with beauty. Tonight, we honor and celebrate our central volunteers whose actions sanctify God's name and who proudly show everyone we meet what it means to be Jewish in this time of increasing chaos and despair. We honor you who show up week after week for families who are seeking safety and refuge in our city, who welcome children and adults from around the world into our classrooms and fill our offices with gifts for those who have braved violence and terror to reach our borders. You testify to the love for the stranger and the migrant that is imprinted on the pages of Torah, imprinted in the heart and history of our people. Tonight we celebrate you who rise before the sun to share a hot meal and a word of encouragement with our neighbors who are hungry. You who ferry and serve meals uptown to the community fridge and downtown to PS 188. You who make hundreds of sandwiches each week. You are malachim, messengers of holiness, ambassadors of our Torah's special concern for the most vulnerable in our communities. And we honor you who visit our brothers and sisters on Rikers Island, who sit at our beloved Coming Home community table, who nurture the vision of the Reentry Theater of Harlem and walk with our Teshuvah fellows through the summer. You are the torchbearers of hope for a different world animated and transformed by the restorative practice of Teshuvah, of atonement and return. We honor you who travel up to Albany to advocate for a more sustainable future, who clean up our waterways and our streets, our young people fighting for their futures on this planet. You make visible the web of connection and obligation that binds us together in our shared ecosystem. And we celebrate you who welcome us, members and guests alike, into this beautiful sanctuary. You who care for one another in spaces across the city. You who maintain our archives and who facilitate dialogue across difference. You who dedicate your time, talents, and resources to the stewardship of our central community. All of you echo God's words in Genesis. It is not good for human beings to be alone. In a 1984 essay on what it means to be a refugee, Elie Wiesel asks what sanctuary looks like. He answers, "The sanctuary is often something very small, not a grandiose gesture, but a small gesture toward alleviating human suffering and preventing humiliation. The sanctuary is a human being. Sanctuary is a dream. And that is why you are here, and that is why I am here. We are here because of one another." Let the sanctuaries we build, the loving relationships we nourish, and the new life we bring into this world testify and sanctify God's name and illuminate a path forward to a world transformed.